What's happening, Nerd Squad, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Batman Beyond premiered January 1999. The show centers around Bruce Wayne's retirement as Batman, so for 20 years Gotham went without a protector. That was until Terry McGinnis came along. In the future, we also get to see unique takes on villains as well, like Mr. Freeze. He attempts to join the good side, and Bane is old and in a wheelchair and he can't move. Meanwhile, his assistant is selling versions of Venom called Slappers. Things are wild in the future. It's a great time. So on today's list, we'll be counting down our top 10 most powerful Batman Beyond characters. I'm your host, Terry McWatters. Let's dive in. Kicking off the list at number 10, Batman. Terry McGinnis. Might as well start this list off with Batman himself. So the year is 2039. At this point, Bruce Wayne had retired from the crime-fighting life. He wasn't in the best condition to be Batman anymore because he was forced to use a gun after a heart attack, so he resigned. He was laying low at Wayne Manor. But meanwhile, Project Cadmus director Amanda Waller was out looking for an eventual replacement for Batman. So she figured she'd get started on Project Batman Beyond. Now, a major key element was using Batman's blood samples left over from his altercations. That mixed with some nanotech solutions, we now have the DNA of Bruce Wayne. So she was out looking for the perfect couple to bestow this gift onto and found that in the McGinnis household. Terry's parents were psychologically identical to Thomas and Martha Wayne. So when they thought they were going for a flu shot, they didn't even know they were about to be the new parents of a new Batman. Amanda almost had both of his parents taken out, to encourage the lonely road of a caped crusader, but thankfully she scrapped that idea. But yet still down the road in Terry's teenage years, his father ended up getting killed anyways, and Terry believed that it was the corrupt CEO of the merged Wayne Powers company. He thought Derek Powers was responsible, so he got the help of Bruce Wayne, and after facing off against the Joker's gang, which I'll get into later on, Terry realized Bruce was the OG Batman. So Terry stole the latest batsuit and was determined to find justice. The Beyond suit is awesome. Rocket boots, cloaking device, claws, I want it all. Number 9. Light. So that guy Derek Powers that I just mentioned, he was indeed an evil CEO of Powers Tech. And when he was exposed to a mutagen that he designed, he was turned into a monster. He created this nerve gas with intentions to sell it as a weapon, but one of his employees, Warren McGinnis, now you're connecting it, found evidence of this, and that's why he was taken out. Derek's a bit of a jerk. So Terry came in as this new Batman, stopped Powers, and at the same time exposed him to this gas, and he ended up becoming this radioactive translucent monster. He has this cosmetic skin that he uses to hide this ability, but if he gets too mad, his powers flare up and then his skin starts to flake off. It's real gross. He is quite powerful. He's a walking, talking nuclear hazard, and you can't be near this guy without being affected. He once irradiated Batman's bat robe because he turned it into a glowing beam of light. He can also blast radiation at you if you're too far away as well, so at any distance, you're not safe. And before we go on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be awesome. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Now let's get right back into this video. Number 8. The Jokers. I gotta talk about the Jokers, these punks, okay? They of course took their inspiration from the Joker 40 years prior, and they're a gang who dress in clown outfits with makeup, and they cause trouble in Gotham City. Kind of exactly what you'd expect. In the animated series, Batman goes against different versions of this gang, and in a Justice League Unlimited episode, it's said by Ghul that there are over 9,000 active Jokers, divided into 200 groups. Now, there are 3 versions here. The first one is led by a crook dressed like the Joker. They were the Jokers that Derek Powers' henchman, Mr. Fix, incriminated for the murder of Terry's father. Their leader is J-Man. The second group of Jokers were in the Hidden Agenda episode, led by a member named Terminal, a student at Hamilton High, and they had their sights set on taking out Max Gibson, but when Max tried to figure out who was after her, that's how she found out that Terry is actually Batman. The third group is in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker and had Harley's twin granddaughters. Now this group was led by the revived Joker himself, who was using Tim Drake's body. That whole thing. The Jokers sound cool. Like, that's a pretty sweet gang name. I mean, it sounds more intimidating than the Jets. All they do is snap their fingers and do jazz choreography, which can be intimidating sometimes. Number 7, Spellbinder. High school psychologist turned mind-controlling criminal. Okay, sign me up. Ira Billings worked as a psychologist at Hamilton High School, but he felt like he was underappreciated. He was underpaid, so he decided to amp it up a little bit. He used his skill set to get back at the rich. He had a vendetta against them, so at work, he would get into the minds of these rich students. Like mind control, he'd get in your head, it's crazy. He made them steal expensive stuff from their homes after this point. So now all we need is spandex and a cool name, and voila, we have a villain. He also has this floating eyeball in his right hand, and he would project images into people's mind with it. He was dubbed Spellbinder by the media after he tricked Chelsea Cunningham to go on this jungle adventure to steal a valuable trinket from an ancient temple. Spellbinder is a pretty good name. That's a pretty sweet name. But the thing was, Barbara Gordon, police commissioner now, she would visit Ira as his day job to find out more clues about these cases, because he's the guy you would normally go to. How twisted is that? When she asked him about Chelsea, he just blamed it on her, saying that she just wanted attention. Guy's insane. Number 6, Ink. One of the first challengers that Terry has to go against is Ink, and she's quite powerful. She was born into poverty, so unfortunately she grew up with a hard mindset when it came to money and wealth. So naturally she turned to the life of crime. She would do anything for money at this point, including letting herself be used as a test subject for an experiment. Now this experiment got her paid, but she was never the same afterwards. She became a liquidy shapeshifter, plus her obsession with crime. We have a supervillain. That's how you do it. So afterwards, she took on more jobs and transferred money to her daughter every month. Now, she's not close with her daughter at all, but she still supports her financially. She feels like that's the least she can do. And in her mind, growing up without any money, it probably seems like she's doing a lot for the daughter, when really, she probably just wants her around. She doesn't want her money, she wants her presence. Her body is liquid, basically, like I said. And she also has tones of blue in her skin, but whenever she would go undercover, she would take on this featureless form with a white oval on her face. It's actually kind of terrifying. She could change her body size and shape at will, even hardening parts of her body to act as a weapon. And if you think you can get far away and maybe you're safe, her telescopic vision will spot you coming from a mile away. So think again. Number 5, Ra's al Ghul. Arabic for the demon's head. He's quite powerful and now quite old. In the animated series, he's been alive for over 600 years thanks to the Lazarus Pits. Now, over this time, he became a master fighter, super wealthy, he got brilliant at planning, and he became the leader of a powerful criminal organization. He put together the Society of Shadows with plans to reverse all the damage that humans have done to Earth. He wants it to be a tech-free world. Who knows? Maybe he's just sick of TikTok. Batman once described him as a criminal mastermind that is as dangerous as Lex Luthor and the Joker put together. So put that on a resume. And of course, he's the father of Talia al Ghul, but you already knew that. Number 4, Superman. This next one doesn't need much of an introduction. Okay, so Superman, aka Kal-El, aka Clark Kent, is of course a founding member of the Justice League. And in the 2-part episode titled The Call, Superman appears and asks Terry McGinnis if he wants to be a member of Justice League Unlimited. That sounds like a great day, but Terry wasn't really feeling it because at the time he was receiving hostility from the other members. And then he feels even more at a place when Superman tells everybody that he suspects a traitor is amongst the team. He's like, hey, you wanna join? I think there's a traitor, but you wanna join? No. There's some bad air going on in there. It sounded uncomfortable enough, but then it turned out that the traitor was indeed Superman the whole time. Yeah, he was under the mind control from Starro. We've also seen Superman on the bad team a few times, in the Injustice timeline for one, and the Superman Red Sun timeline. It doesn't matter what timeline you're in, if Superman's going evil, that's scariest day ever. Scariest day ever. Number 3, Shriek. Walter Shreve, aka Shriek, was a sound engineer, one of the best in the biz, who created a suit that could generate and control sound. So naturally, you just have to become a supervillain at that point. But before that, he worked at Shreve Sound Labs, but he spent all his money on research and the company was starting to go bankrupt. And then in comes Derek Powers, that super nice guy I mentioned earlier. He came to the rescue. He saw his work and was like, hey, let me acquire your business real quick. Gimme. Derek funded all of the experiments going forward, including this new sound suit with 4 built-in sound generators, each of these controlling different sound effects. Now this tech was supposed to be meant for demolition, but of course Powers had other ideas. See, his plan was to get Walter to take out Bruce Wayne. Now he didn't kill him, but he sent him to the hospital. He got quite close. But in doing so, Shreve left behind a right-hand sound generator, so Batman was able to track him down. That was actually a great part because Terry disguised himself as a pizza delivery boy who got the wrong address, and then Shreve let Terry into his lab because, you know, can't resist free pizza. Number 2, Joker King. Doug Tan, the king of the Jokers. Those crazy clowns that I mentioned earlier. So Doug made his first appearance in Batman Beyond issue 5. He was a troubled youth who sadly grew up following in the path of the original Joker. His parents finally had enough. They thought that this was unhealthy and that he took things a little bit too far, so they took away his Joker gear. But Doug continued the worshipping anyways, of course. Things got crazy when he joined the Joker's gang, but he was disappointed with it almost. They weren't bad enough. Their crimes were considered petty crimes. He's like, come on guys, we gotta amp this up, let's get evil. So eventually he got caught and locked up by doing this, but in jail, he just spread the word even more. Doug was eventually the top dog named Joker King. So he got parole, he acted like he was the change man, all that stuff, with this insane clown posse now behind him on the way out. So he used a group of Jokers to test Batman and to study him. Then the Joker King used hypnotic drugs to a mass amount of other Jokers, and they destroyed the city. Now these other Jokers were strapped with TNT, and they would go and willingly blow themselves up with the buildings. It was terrible. This guy's evil. And finally, number 1, the Royal Flush Gang. Just like with cards, you need a king, queen, jack, 10, and an ace for a royal flush. And for this list, we're looking at the Walter family's Royal Flush Gang. They use weapons shaped like playing cards, of course, and they can fly on card boards. Not cardboards, they can fly on like card boards, like through the air. It's pretty badass, I gotta admit, like they look cool. They don't have superpowers, which makes them pretty unique, but they each play a vital role in taking down Gotham City. So the king is a master swordsman. The queen wields a scepter-like weapon. Jack is a master of knives. Ace is an android, and 10 is the computer guy. They're the hacker of the team. In the 8th episode of Batman Beyond, the gang shows up for the first time to fight Batman once they hear he's back in town. Imagine running into these guys. Like, I wouldn't even try and fight. I would be like, oh, these are magicians. These are like the new magician gang. Let's see what you guys got. Well, guys, there you have it. Those are 10 powerful characters from Batman Beyond. Now, of course, there are many, many others to cover in the series, so let us know in the comments down below who you'd love to hear more of. Thank you so much for tuning in to Top 10 Nerd. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.